Today, we take a virtual trip to our neighboring province, Quebec, to meet and engage influential figure Bryan Hardy about his fascinating work there. Hi, and a warm welcome to everyone out there tuning in to today's podcast. We do appreciate you taking the time to do so. And for the next 30-ish minutes or so, our special guest Bryan Hardy delves into his intriguing work involving holistic nutrition, life coaching, and much more. My name is Dipchand Ramcharitar. I'm the Outreach and Development Coordinator at Voice of Men 360. Voice of Men 360 is a non-profit organization based in London, Ontario, Canada, and primarily focused on the well-being of men and boys, though at times we do reach out to other demographics as best we can. With me today, behind the controls, is our President Siva. And just to continue, Voice of Men 360 is part of International Men's Day, which has been around for more than 25 years and over 95 countries providing similar services. This is our 198th episode of Open Up, which is a weekly podcast, usually airing at 7 p.m. EST on Sundays, though at times we need to change it a bit around due to extenuating circumstances, where we engage with influential leaders and critical thinkers with the intent of positively impacting society on a wide range of critical social issues with an emphasis on men and boys. Before we get started, actually, here's our disclaimer. We would like to remind you that Voice of Men 360's mission is always delivered with good faith towards peaceful harmony. The views and opinions expressed in today's episode are those of our speakers and do not necessarily represent Voice of Men 360. Our organization engages in discussion forums to offer inspiration and create awareness of the issues of men who wish to overcome their life challenges. We are not providing medical or therapeutic advice. Should you require that type of assistance, we recommend you contact a medical professional immediately. If you have any questions or concerns about today's episode or any Voice of Men 360 content, please email us at that's info@voiceofmen360.org. Now, let's welcome our guest, Bryan. A warm welcome to you. It's so nice to have you on the show. And let's get right to it. Can you tell us a bit about yourself, about your work, and what drives you?
Yeah, well, thank you guys for doing what you do. And I mean, almost 200 episodes. That is no small feat. So way to stick with it and to keep bringing the support and the information and the education because it's clearly making a difference. So it's just an honor to be here and I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to share and to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to make my story easy to digest, because I could talk for a long time about the various pieces of it, but really, I came into any kind of awareness around holistic nutrition, health in a deeper sense than just like going to the gym, which was what health meant to me as a teenager was just like, okay, am I strong? Do I go to the gym? Do I look good? Do I feel okay? Okay, I guess I'm healthy. And when I was 18, my appendix became very inflamed and ended up rupturing after being sick for about a week. And in between it rupturing and me getting actual life-saving surgery was quite a chunk of time because I went to 2 hospitals. The first hospital I went to completely missed what was going on. Absolutely missed it. So the next hospital I went to a day later found what was going on, told me the worst case scenario, told me we have to have surgery right now because you're a mess. And that's what it was. I was 18 years old at the time. And it felt like, my whole life was in front of me. I was in university. I was doing well. And I woke up from that, and what ensued was 11 days in that hospital. I lost about 25 pounds, and I wasn't that big to begin with. So I left that hospital at 145 pounds, 6'2". So I was very frail, very weak, very beaten down. But what came from that and what ensued was a multi-year journey of trying to figure out why that happened and then trying to deal with the after effects, because anyone who has taken a large dose of antibiotics for a long period of time, now today it's more commonplace. People are aware, okay, I took a bunch of antibiotics, I better take some probiotics or some healthy prebiotics to support my gut to prevent further issues. I knew nothing of that. This was back in 2010. I ate yogurt as part of my breakfast, but that was the extent of it. Long story short, a few months after that surgery, I ended up in terrible shape in terms of my digestion. I was bloated all the time. I couldn't digest a lot of foods. My energy was just gone. And so I'm trying to pay attention in class. I'm trying to, sleep for 8 hours a night and, do all the things that are supposed to let me have the energy I'm supposed to have as a young person. And it's just not working. And my brain feels foggy and kind of just like hard to focus. And it turned out that I had a whole bunch of digestive issues going on that had been precipitated from the surgery and the antibiotics and the after effects of those things. And so in order to feel better, I became obsessed and I started to research whatever I could. I found podcasts at that time. They weren't very popular back then. I found them. I started to devour that information, start to tinker with different things. Saw a naturopathic doctor who introduced me to books on nutrition, therapeutic nutrition, and all of this stuff just blew my mind. And it's kind of been that way ever since. I've just been obsessed with trying to figure out what are the things that we need to be aware of and to be managing if we are to thrive in the modern world. Because I look around and I don't see a lot of thriving. I see a lot of surviving. I see a lot of struggle. I see a lot of chronic health conditions. And I wanted to make a difference with that. And so I ended up changing my focus in school and going into holistic nutrition and holistic lifestyle and just useful to somebody so they wouldn't have to go through the same kind of suffering that I had to go through.
Right.
Yeah, that's what brings me here.
Well, you certainly have had your share of challenges, to put it mildly. Was there a pivotal moment that you said, hey, I'm stopping on a dime here? Or has it been a series of ongoing situations that sort of eventually led you to your path?
I think there was a few moments, but one that stands out the most, which I would call like my first ever rock bottom moment, was in that hospital bed post-surgery. And I had been holding on to this vision. See, it's amazing what we can get through when we have a goal or a reward at the end of the pain and struggle, right? So I'm in the hospital. In my mind, in a couple months from then, I was supposed to be going on a week-long cruise with my family and my mom's side extended week-long cruise, amazing adventure, amazing food, just a really fun time. I was supposed to be going on that cruise. That was for our reading week that year. And because of the infection that I had in my abdomen, when they took the staples out of my wound, and I had a fairly large incision about like that straight down my midsection. Right. When they took the staples out, the wound opened up in two places. And so imagine I'm looking down, I can see the stitches that are holding my abs together, the muscle tissue together. And it's infected, and it's this big gaping holes, two big gaping holes right in my abdomen. And in that moment, the doctor said basically, there's no way that you can go on a cruise with a wound like this, right? You're going to have to be staying at home for the next like 3 months to let this thing heal. And in that moment, this fantasy of this cruise, this future thing to look forward to, was taken away from me. And so there I was very much just stuck in pain, weak, uncomfortable, in this hospital, and that was my reality, and there's nothing I could do about it. There was no fantasy I could escape to not be there anymore. And it really just broke me at a certain level and humbled me to realize, okay, this is going to be a long, hard journey to get through this. And these things that I've been looking forward to, that's not going to happen, at least not anytime soon. And
Wow.
yeah, yeah, it was
Yeah.
humbling. It was a humbling
Yeah,
moment.
I can imagine. That's quite the experience. Now, I know you with a previous conversation, you mentioned your affinity for the holistic approach. So, keeping that in mind, what role do nutrition, fitness, and lifestyle play in supporting men's overall health and well-being?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's so foundational. It's so foundational because most things, most chronic health conditions, even the number one killers like heart disease, right? That's still by far the number one killer for men. There are so many things that you can do nutritionally, with vitamins, with minerals, with specific herbs and supplementation, as well as lifestyle, right? Are you exercising? Are you relieving your stress? Are you letting go of stress regularly? Are you sleeping enough? Right? Are you hydrated? Most people are malnourished, dehydrated, underslept, and overstressed. And they just think that's normal. That's just what they see around them. They think that's the way life is supposed to be. And so it's no wonder that we have such a chronic disease epidemic, because what's normal for most people is absolutely dysfunctional. It is stressing the body beyond what it's designed for. It is depriving it of the nutrition and the rest and recovery that it needs, especially the nutrition, because even if you ate like all organic food from the grocery store, you're still not going to get therapeutic amounts of the kinds of things that your body needs to thrive. That's for a few reasons, because the soil that the food is grown in is not that nutrient dense anymore because of years and years and years of farming.
Right.
And the more stressed we are, meaning if we're breathing pollutants in the air, if we are not sleeping enough, if we are working too many hours, if we are just anxious and always spinning on ruminating negative thoughts, all
Yeah.
of those things, any kind of stressor, and your body perceives relational, mental, emotional, chemical, environmental, and physical stress all as the same kind of stress. The more stressed you are, the more your body burns through nutrients, things like vitamin C, things like magnesium. Your body burns through those in order to maintain its function under stress, right? So if you have like two people and they're under the same amount of stress, but one of them is getting magnesium supplementation every day, the other one is not, the one who's getting magnesium supplemented into their diet is scientifically shown to be able to better handle that stress, right? So if you look at that on a short term, it makes sense. But if you look at it over decades, we can see that every decision, every meal, every choice, every late night, every workout or not workout, if we don't move our bodies, right? Every decision to meditate and pray, or to connect and to release stress and to come back to your center, all of those have a profound impact. And
Right.
so, whether you experience dis-ease like most people do and will statistically, is dramatically under your influence. Dramatically.
Yeah, that's true. The thing is, we all certainly have our work cut out for us. We can't just sit on our laurels and expect to breeze through life. If we want good health and overall well-being, we got to put in the work. So you're right about that. Now, one of the issues that men face, and it can go back to biology as well as social. Some people say it's a true social construct, is the issue of men with this stigma of, if they have an issue, they don't want to look after it, whether it's mental or physical, regarding their personal well-being. So, especially mental health. How do you think men can breach that stigma and access the necessary services?
Yeah, I think the first thing is to recognize that whatever you think, right? Most of the time, there's some degree of, well, I don't want other people to worry about me. I don't want my wife or my kids or my parents or whomever to worry about me or to feel like I'm a burden to them or to scare them or something like that. And so there's this idea that the people in your life can't handle the truth, and that they may judge you in some way, right? You're going to be made fun of if you need mental health support. You're going to be ridiculed by your friends, whatever it might be. And so the thing to remember is that most people just don't care as much about you and, you know, the things going on in your life as you might think they do. All of us are the center of our own universe. And so, you know, even if they care for a day or 2 days, and if you've ever been embarrassed at school, you've experienced this where something happens, you're embarrassed, everybody's laughing at you. A day later, 2 days later, it's gone, right? Especially these days, probably attention spans are even less because of social media. And so other people don't care. So forget their opinions. It doesn't matter what they think. If you know something's not right, if you know that you don't feel stable, you don't feel safe, you don't feel well, you feel like you're really struggling to get through the day, that is your body inviting you to look more closely. It's inviting you to find some kind of support, some kind of outlet, some kind of network that can be informative, inspiring, educational, supportive, etc. And so you have to just get over yourself, essentially get over your ego, get over that stupid voice that's trying to tell you, you know, people are going to be worried, you can't do this, what is everyone else going to think? You got to just push that voice aside and do what you know you need to do, because not doing that is the really stupid thing to do, right? Just sucking it up and just pushing through and just trying to pretend until something breaks and then you really have a problem. That would be the very unwise thing to do, that a lot of, myself included, a lot of hard-headed, you know, tough guy kind of men think that, oh, it's weak of me if I need to ask for help, which is absolutely just silly. It's not weak of any of us. No one is an island. No one has all the answers. And it's a stressful world out there, right? So if you need help, get the help. It doesn't mean you're less of a man. It doesn't mean you're weak. It just means you're actually, you care and you don't want to struggle unnecessarily.
Exactly. And you raise another good point. It affects all of us, this idea that, you know, like we think everybody's paying attention to us 100% of the time, not realizing they have their own fish to fry, you know. So we all should take more stock about our own well-being and not focus on what other people think about us. When it comes to how can men balance their physical health, their mental well-being, spiritual and emotional resilience in today's fast-paced world?
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak for what's worked for me and what I've seen work with some of the men that I've supported, and that is to come up to implement routines into your life, things that you ideally, at least to some degree, that you enjoy doing, right? So for me, this is like mountain biking, or, you know, jumping in a cold river or a cold lake, or just working out in general, right? Strength training, even flexibility training, all these things.
Right.
So it's finding something that gets you moving, that gets your body in action, that gets you proving to yourself that you can be strong and you can do hard things, right? Knowing that you can do hard things because you prove that to yourself day in and day out really does a lot for your confidence and your sense of resilience, right? If I wake up and I bike 10 kilometers and then jump in a cold river, it's unlikely anything else in my day is going to feel as physiologically stressful as that event. And so I've already given myself something to kind of like inoculate myself against further stresses. And so I'm ready to handle whatever comes up. And I've discharged a bunch of energy, which is essential, because if you're walking around with all of this pent up energy, then the smallest little thing you walk down, you just freak out. Emotional stress. And so that for me, it's find something that ideally you can do. It connects you to nature in some way, because I find a lot of mental, emotional peace and clarity tends to come when you're in a forest, or when you're hiking up a hill or a mountain, or you're on a river or something of that nature, right? And it might
Right.
just be sitting in your backyard with your back against a tree and breathing, doing some breath work practices or some meditation practices for 10 minutes to start your day. I've
Right.
seen that be amazing for switching people out of a very stressed out state into a more, okay, I can breathe again. I feel like myself again. The world's not ending, right? I can handle this. But it's hard to feel that way if you're stuck to a screen, if you're stuck to a phone, if you're not exercising, you're not sweating, you're not breathing heavy, you're not getting that hit of endorphins, and getting that inner resilience that's being built day after day by choosing to do hard things. That for
Right.
me is so key. And because, in my view, at least, this physical vessel is a gift. It's like a spiritual gift for our soul to have as we move through life. And so the physical is the spiritual, right? There's no difference. There's no separation. And
Yeah.
so my spiritual practice can be, working out. That can be a very legitimate spiritual practice because of the intention behind it and how I'm focused on my breath. I'm listening to my body. I'm feeling very connected as I do that practice. And the whole thing becomes, this very holistic package of
Right.
tending to all of those areas without having to do, four different things.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Those are some very key issues, very key issues that you've raised there. Before we go further, I would just like to apologize to everyone out there. We're having slight technical difficulty with the audio. Please bear with us as we continue. Suicide rates rather are both alarming and devastating, especially amongst males. Keeping this in mind, can you point to some red flags for those with suicidal tendencies, and how best can they be addressed?
Yeah, so in terms of how best they can be addressed, that's probably not my area of expertise. But there's plenty of like mental health first aid resources, right? There's hotlines you can call if you are actually suicidal or having those kinds of thoughts,
Right.
or go to the hospital if you need to, as sort of a last case resort. But before all of that, right? Before all that, what we tend to see is isolation, right? People self-isolating. So that's kind of a red flag, right? If someone is just not showing up, they're not being social, they're not coming to whatever gatherings, they're keeping to themselves much more than they used to. And especially if this is like after something challenging. So say somebody, lost a family member or they lost a job, and then they stop showing up, right? That to me is like, okay, I should probably check in on this person. I should probably give them a call and see how they're doing, because they're probably struggling, right? When we're struggling, we tend to isolate, which is so, kind of sad, because the time we need help the most is the time we feel least capable of asking for it.
Right.
And so that to me is a big red flag. Of course, substance abuse also would fall into that category, right? If you see someone, or if you yourself, you feel like you're being drawn to, I just got to have more drinks after work to wind down, or I got to have more whatever, fill in the blank,
Yeah.
to try and take the edge off. That can be a slippery slope. And so you want to pay attention to that. And again, find some sort of
Yeah.
outlet, even if it's a friend, if it's a hotline, if it's a men's group. Like if you go looking for a resource, for some place to just let them know, okay, I'm struggling, right? I'm
Right.
really struggling with this. And
Yeah.
many times that'll look like a health professional of some sort.
Yeah.
Then you just have to do it, right? Don't wait.
Yeah. For sure. And as you mentioned too, the thing is, um, if you, as a friend or family member, you notice a dramatic shift in somebody's behavior for the worse, then you can look into it some more and see if there's some way you can understand what's going on with that person. That can help as well. You're right about that. Um, when it comes to relationships with others, how can men develop healthier ones with friends, families, and intimate partners?
Yeah, for me, it kind of starts with yourself, and it starts with honesty, truth, right? Are you telling the truth, or are you filling your life full of lies? Are you lying to yourself all the time? I used to lie to myself all the time about little things, seemingly little things, or lie to others about little things, tell little fibs here and there. If that's the way that you operate and that is normal to you, to just omit things that are rather important or to just make up things, then it's going to be very hard to forge any kind of long-lasting, trusting relationship, be it with a friend, a family member, or a intimate partner. And so learning to tell the truth, especially when it's uncomfortable, especially when you're that it might upset somebody, right? That's the time where it's the most important. Are fairly easy, right? If you know that nothing major is going to come from it, why would you be afraid to hold back or
Right.
to speak your mind? But if you think it's going to, you're gonna lose something, or you're going to, temporarily offend somebody, and so you're censoring your behavior. You're not actually being yourself, and you're not actually being authentic, which I know is easier said than done. This is, definitely a practice and something that we're all working on continually. But if you don't lead with what's actually true, then you're likely to end up with something that it's a relationship built on mistruths or built on lies, flat out lies, and it typically blows up at some point, and it's
Yeah.
not good. It's not a good ending. So yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely. You're so right about that. It's something that we all need to pay attention to. We running out of time, so let's move on. How can men serve as positive role models and mentors for boys and young men?
I think for me, the biggest thing is, are you taking care of yourself? Right? Are you physically strong? Are you emotionally regulated? Having and in some kind of process, mental, emotional, spiritual process of understanding yourself, right? And then applying what you learn, and showing up and being able to be honest, being able to, show initiative, take action, lead your life, right? If you're not doing that, then it doesn't matter what you say to, the younger generation or to your kids or whoever.
Right.
People are watching what you do, right? Especially younger people. They're watching what you do. They're watching how you are. How are you actually being? Not just what are you saying? And so for me, the first thing, again, because so much of this is rooted in the physical body, if someone takes care of their health, they're going to be in a much better place to take care of everything else, right? They're going to have the energy and they're going to have the self-discipline that they can then apply to other areas. So again, for me, it's like, are you physically fit? Right? And I like to actually go and work out, maybe once a week or so at a public playground, somewhere where there's bars, right? There's bars, there's things to work out on. And to do that, and oftentimes you'll see younger kids, especially younger boys, but girls too, but younger boys, they'll see you, doing your chin-ups or doing your dips or doing whatever it is you're doing, and they become like fascinated and they want to do it too. Right. And
Yeah.
so it's like just doing those things to show what a healthy, strong, athletic individual looks like and can do with their body. For me as a young person, that was a massive inspiration.
Yeah.
And just every time you meet somebody who's embodied this next level of whether it's just physical or it's just the calm confidence that they hold and that the way they move through the world, all of those things are so impactful. And so it really is that. It's like, be a role model by being the best version of you that you can be and taking care of yourself as best as you can.
Yeah, excellent points. You definitely have to lead by example. So we have a couple of questions. So briefly, can you tell us what is the overall message you would like to be conveyed through your work?
I believe, and I've seen this to be true in my clinical practice, that most guys don't recognize how good they are designed to be able to feel on a regular basis. And so until you give yourself the opportunity, until you go kind of all in on your health for a period of time and you see what you're capable of, you see how it feels to be sleeping well, eating well, exercising, dealing with stress, and really putting your health as a top priority and doing that for a period of months. It's only once you do that that you tend to have the experience of, oh my gosh, I never knew I could have this much energy. I never knew I could look this good, feel this good, have a positive mood most of the time, right? Wake up and be excited for the day rather than dreading the day. Once you had that experience, you now have a new set point. You now have a new standard. And that new standard allows you to know what is actually, in my highest good. What does it look like when I'm taking care of myself and I'm really expressing more of my potential in the world? And so I want people to feel that. I want people to see that. I want them to invest in their vitality bank account and build that thing up so they've got so much capacity, strength, energy, positivity that it just overflows into other areas of their lives, overflows into their relationships, overflows into the community around them.
That would certainly, that would certainly make a difference to a lot of people out there. I have one final question for you, but before I get to it, just some further information about our organization. First of all, our phone number is 226-289-8784. Our email address is info@voiceofmen360.org. Website is www.voiceofmen360.org. You can find us on lots of social media. We have a Facebook group page. Please join our group and look at our daily activities. And obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but we would like you to invite your friends as well. There are other social platforms we're on, social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. We do have a YouTube channel, Voice of Men 360. Please like our videos, subscribe to the various videos, and invite your friends along. We would really appreciate it. So, Bryan, just finally, if you have any contact information that you would like to share to the folks out there.
Yeah. So the best place for all things related to me and my presence online is my website is the best place to start, which is revitalizedman.com. Revitalizedman.com. You can see it there.
Right.
And if you want a couple free gifts, free things that can help you to move your health journey ahead, your energy, your hormones as a man, you can go to revitalizedman.com/guide, GUIDE. Otherwise, I'm easy to reach, whether through Facebook, whether through Instagram, whether through WhatsApp. My cell number, again, if you're in Canada, you want to reach out, you can see the WhatsApp link, which goes directly to my cell. That's 416-885-8904. And I would love to hear from you. If anything that I shared made sense or clicked, or you want to chat more, I'm available and I'm here. And I want to be able to contribute to the men out there that are ready for change, and they know that they're here for more, and they're tired of settling for less and struggling and suffering through their lives when they know that they're capable of more.
For sure. So everybody can get the contact information off the screen, and we would want to at this point thank Bryan Hardy very much for this absorbing and informative session. We really appreciate you being able to come on here and share your views. Thank you so much again. To the audience out there, we certainly appreciate the time you've spent with us today. I hope it will benefit you in some way. Thanks again for being part of this program. And to Sivam, who is behind the scenes, hardworking as ever, thank you for doing what you do to ensure the podcast moves as smoothly as possible. So from all of us here at Voice of Men 360, thank you so much again, and have yourself a wonderful evening. Bye for now.